Good evening, my local drones. This is Addendum here, and I'm back again for another video. So today's video is going to be slightly different. Before me and Kaiser continue with the Season 4 or Boku no Hero overview, we're going to do an addendum, because there's a few things that we got incorrect, and I have a sneaking suspicion that there's a few things...
things that we just didn't cover in the other 3 overviews that we have done so far. This is a result of me and a friend of ours basically group watching and rewatching the show in order to get a better understanding of it. And some things had came to light, and I have a list of these things right here, and we're gonna go through all as much as we can in this video. So hopefully this will help clear up some misconceptions that we have made and other things that the show kind of did that are straight up problems that we just didn't talk about. First things first.
For the longest time, I've had a sneaking suspicion that there's a few things that we forgot to cover, and me and Kaiser were talking about it, and he decided to go sort of rewatch the show because I didn't really have time for that because I'm busy with school and shit. And your turn.
So basically, me and a friend of ours, we rewatched the show, and it helped me reevaluate some things. There might have been then I realized there was some stuff that we got wrong or just didn't have chance to cover all that well. And I've written all these things down right here, so hope we can get through all of that through this video, clear to some misconceptions. The overall verdict that we gave each of the shows, each of the seasons of the show and the show overall, are just about the same. These are just some things that I feel that we owe to the public, as in the 10 people that are watching this damn thing, some reparations, right? So
it's just so people know that we're not infallible, and I'm pretty sure in the other overviews we've done, there's a couple of things that we forgot to cover, but because these videos are so long and we sometimes have technical difficulties, there's some things that we just forget to mention, or we didn't think that was important at the time. So we're doing this addendum as sort of to cover things, and if we do make any further mistakes in the upcoming overviews, which will eventually happen, we might make an addendum as well for those. We'll see.
So if there's anything we get wrong in this video, please let us know in the comments. And without further ado, let us go. Let's just get right down to it with the first item in our menu, which is All Might. Basically, the whole thing with All Might giving one for all to Deku in the first place. Now, didn't really talk much about this in the review of Season 1. However, as me and my friend were watching Season 1, and I asked him about, wanting to get his perspective as a fresh guy because he didn't see the show before, right? And I wanted to understand, because this is a very highly contentious topic in regards to the show's writing. And, people, the whole argument, the thesis anyways, and I'm not sure whether or not we made that in the original video, but here's the thing. Because people were mad, and we were probably mad, that All Might, giving his quirk to someone like Deku, who is, unprepared, who is a teenager, and all this other stuff, is probably not the most responsible thing to do. And by the way, this is just us gonna be discussing these things. This might not be just stuff that I found from rewatching the show, so But anyway, that All Might giving his quirk away to a kid might not have been the best idea. And technically, but here's the thing, though. I would like to pose a counter argument to that. Yes, that's not exactly the most responsible or even the smartest thing. And technically, that's kind of the point, because it's still in keeping with All Might, who All Might is as a character. Because, oh god.
I would like to mention a thing that I don't think I've ever disagreed with, Deku getting the powers of All Might, because it makes sense. Because, in the scene before that, he showed attributes of being a hero, quick decision-making, bravery, and stuff like that. And and we mentioned this before, when he rushed up to the slime monster. I think, if you, as far as All Might is concerned, he's, looking at this kid's actions, and he's saying, wow, that was really stupid and reckless, but, if I can train that, if we can, mold that, this guy could be a fucking hero. This guy could.
Exactly.
This guy's got because like despite like I mean yeah we could say that Deku's Deku is not my most favorite shonen protagonist. I'll admit that, but I'll say these things about Deku. He is quick-witted. He is brave, and he does continuously try. He's trying to become a hero, and I'll give him that.
Yes, but in regards to this aspect of the show in particular, again, this is still in keeping. It's not necessarily the most responsible thing to do, but it's understandable why All Might did it. It's not necessarily that Deku was the most worthy person out of everybody who has One for All. Because that's an argument that a lot of people like to bring up. It's not about worthiness. It's about him showcasing the potential that All Might sees, and he just so happens to be the person who best represents that, and he's the one who basically ignited his wish to help people, and even at the cost of his own health.
Yeah, and I think for All Might's character it makes sense because like All Might, like he goes with his gut. He goes with his gut feeling, and he sees Deku do this shit, and his gut says, "This is the kid. This is the guy that's gonna take over. This is my successor. This is the guy who I'm gonna put my hopes into." Because like All Might is dying. Like that's the thing. He's dying, and he sees Deku, and he's like, "This is it. This is the guy." And like it's not based on logic, it's a gut feeling. Like if I was in All Might's situation, I would probably do the same thing. Like this kid, I get a good feeling of him. I can see him, he has that, and I'm gonna do it and make that happen. I believe it is completely like I never had a problem with Deku being chosen as All Might. It's like yes, there's other characters that would be more suited, but All Might he went off his gut.
Yes, and like okay, all right, and I'm glad you said that because I wasn't sure whether or not we talked about it in the review.
I don't
However,
think we did.
okay, because I think seeing as how this is a pre-contentious aspect of the show right from the jump anyways, because it's the friggin' premise of all things, right? I think at the very least we need to address it in a much more fleshed out way, especially because a certain thing is going to be revealed in season 4, and it's going to basically be addendum to this addendum, so
I have a quick question. Will this involve like when we cover that bit in the video, the future video, will it involve me going on a 15-minute rant?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay, thank God. Alright, cool. Alright.
Get there, but not necessarily. Okay, so now we're done with that topic. Let's move down to the next one. Now, this is probably something that I probably mentioned in the reviews, but I really, really, really need to state this here. Shigaraki being able to do whatever he wants like that and just making these dumbass plans with people like Kurogiri and Dabi around who should be able to refine it is just plain friggin' stupid. Like, okay, you can forgive the whole thing with the first season at the end, which, by the way, the show would have been better off if they didn't show up at the end of the first season, but that's a different topic. But the whole thing in like season 3, right? When they were attacking the kids in the training camp, that was just straight up stupid, honestly. Because like again, their whole give you a good refresher on their so-called plan, right? They wanted to catch the kids off guard. While they were out in the open at night, granted, distracting them with the smoking fire, and also one of the villain's quirks having to do with smoke, just cause chaos, and then just like take Bakugo and maybe have Toga steal blood from some of the students, okay? Here's my question though. What the hell was stopping Kurogiri from opening a portal inside of their building, right? And just having the smoke guy just gas the entire building while they were asleep. All the kids and everybody was asleep in that camp. Why couldn't they do that? Could have done that anytime they wanted, and they would have won easily. And I feel like Dabi would have been able to come up with it and present it to Shigaraki. That's the worst part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've read like Wikipedia interesting. Like I've read like a tiny bit ahead. Like I don't know what exactly happens in future things, but I got a rough idea. Like to me, Dabi, like I get it how Shigaraki is sort of like a tryhard, like he's trying to be a villain, but like he's a fucking psychopathic man-child. But to me, like, Darby seems to be like it does, like, I think Darby would have been able to come up with that shit. Like, I think Darby is just way more intelligent and I think way more cunning than Shigaraki is. I mean, when I say Shigaraki, it's Shigaraki as we know him of season 3. Like, as we know him so far. Like, Shigaraki to me, like, yeah, he has, like, the potential to be a good leader and a good, like, figurehead, but I don't think he's exactly, like, the best planner. Like...
And then the point is that, hey, this wouldn't be much of a problem. They involved Kurogiri and Dabi a little bit more in these things, you know? Because the whole purpose of having a villain like Shigaraki, having a intelligent vizier like Kurogiri and Dabi, you know, is that dynamic. You know, it's about, hey, wouldn't it be more interesting, right, if Shigaraki makes up these wacky plans and then Kurogiri kind of curtails it and spins it in a way that could actually be functional. I don't get that in the show.
I do believe there is a saying that you can tell the quality of a leader by the people that are under him. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like, if you watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes, it's the fucking same thing. Like, if you look at, like, Reinhardt and Yang Li, look at the people that are under them, alright?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, and I think Shigaraki, he's lacking that, like, because it isn't just him. Like, yeah, he's the figurehead, he's the leader. But, you know, he comes up with these plans and ideas, but, you know, shouldn't he have, like, an advisor or people to tell him? It's just like, yeah, I don't think that's a really good idea, but how about, or that is a good idea, but how about we do it like this so it's more practical? Like, Shigaraki, as he is of, like, from season 3, as far as I'm aware of, like, he's just not a good planner. Like, he's good at, like, okay, we're gonna do X and Y and B, alright? He's good at getting shit organized and getting stuff done. It's just the planning phase and the logic behind it is a bit shaky.
Problem, but the fact that, you know, the show just leaves characters that should say something about this out of the whole, you know, the whole playing process in general, and wouldn't have came up with, like, better plans is just immensely contrived. This goes beyond just an understandable character flaw, like All Might giving to Deku. This is just plain old fucking contrivance by using a vague aspect of the character. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, now we get that done. Next topic, All for One versus All Might. Now, my overall opinions on All for One versus All Might haven't necessarily changed, but a couple of things I need to mention. So, I was complaining a lot in the original review of season 3.
Ba-ba-ba-dum.
Yeah. Freaking, oh, hey, All for One has been living so long, he's had all these quirks, why the fuck doesn't he use them when he's fighting All Might again? And a couple things that a friend of mine actually presented to me. Number one, he seemed to have lost a lot of his power since the first time he fought All Might, and you can tell from, you know, some parts of his dialogue that he's actually weaker than he's supposed to be. It's number one. Number two,
like when he first fought All Might, he was like this.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Yeah, exactly. And the second part of it is that, hey, the reason why he didn't have as many quirks as he probably should have is that, hey, in addition to trying to heal himself and reconstitute his power, he's also, the quirks that he's been taking, he's been giving them to Nomu and shit. So he's, you know, he not only is a lot weaker, but his quirk selection is way smaller. So logistically, that actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, but also, like, he's in prison, and I know we're not on that whole spiel, but it's like I get a feeling he's gonna break out at some point and just fucking start.
Oh, absolutely.
Swallowing up fucking quirks like Call of Cthulhu, and then the prison guards are gonna be like this.
Fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah, shit is gonna go down. Like, especially with what's happening in the manga currently, shit is going down.
I saw Anime Uproar, like, covering a chapter, and I was just like, oh shit, I can't wait. Oh, this actually looks interesting. Like, shit.
Yeah. There are hints that All for One might get involved in this thing, but we don't know yet, and that's still something to look forward to for later. One other aspect though that is not in the fight's favor that I don't know whether or not I mentioned in the original review. It's just that that it's downed by so much fucking padding, with just like the flashbacks and the the dumb dialogue and like just certain aspects of the way that it was directed just felt incredibly try hard. It's hard to describe. It stunk as a fight that tries to be epic but without really being all that epic. You know what I mean?
If we're talking about the one for all fight, like I get it why he lost, but it just doesn't sound so like it's just like it isn't really that epic. Like I mean the framing and the fucking like the framing and the animation and the Detroit like that was great, but the rest of the fight is just like wah 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 wah.
Yeah, kind of. And again, it's down by like the padding of the freaking flashbacks and stuff, which just prevented it from being and they keep reiterating aspects and like themes, the thematic importance of the fight, just cramming it down your throat until it fucking sticks to your freaking brain or whatever. It's just like, okay, you don't have to try so hard to sell me this. I'm on it, okay? Just fucking do it.
I mean,
right?
Like, to bring up an example, like in Tokyo Ghoul Read the Manga, they had the big fight between Kaneki Ken and Arima, alright? And in the manga, it's fucking awesome. Like, how it, like, panels it and how it, like, panels it, because, like, cause in the series, like, Arima was Kaneki's, well, when he had amnesia, his mentor and father figure, and now he has to fight and kill his mentor and father figure. And there is no dialogue. It's just them fighting. And the silence is very eerie. And I think there is only like I think a few pieces of dialogue, but it's basically Arima like telling Kaneki like, why are you not trying harder? You're not gonna defeat me like that. You know, the typical shit. But but the way it, like it's very like the way they panel it, it's like Kaneki is very desperate. Like he's going at Arima to die. And we find a lot about we actually find out a lot about Arima through that fight. I don't want to spoil it. You haven't read Tokyo Ghoul Re, right, Kaiser?
I have not. But honestly I don't care because I'm the Tokyo Ghoul in general.
Yeah, it's not a great series. Like I enjoy it personally. I think it has some good aspects, but that's neither here or here. But I'll show you I'll link you the chapter later after this recording. So but the way that it panels it, how it panels and frames it, like it's epic. Well, it's epic in context, but not epic in action, I think is the word for it.
Yeah, and like a lot of it has to do because when it comes to climactic fights like these, the pacing is incredible. You know, you look at freaking Naruto versus Sasuke in the Valley of the End in like first part of Naruto, right? Fight was not only well animated, well acted, but also incredibly well paced. There was dialogue within the fight, just drag on, right? It felt like it needed to be there. It felt like with All for One versus All Might, there just wasn't enough aspects that were essential to it. In fact, it just kind of overstuffed itself. But one more thing, because I don't know whether we said anything like this, but I know this is a complaint that certain people have been throwing shade at this fight for in regards to its outcome, and that's the fact that All Might doesn't die. Here's the thing, though. When it comes to mentors in fiction, they don't necessarily need to die in order to inspire the protagonist in order to change. Aside from that, you know, like, he still can't be a hero anymore. And we actually see All Might going through, like, this sort of, you know, perspective of just being a teacher instead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think All Might did die in, like, a symbolic way, because he can no longer be All Might anymore. So I think he, like when we say, like, I think the death of All Might is more symbolic in that sense. Like, it's more symbolic. Like, he can never be All Might again. So technically, All Might has died.
And we see a bit of the impact that his retirement has had. You know, Hero System is trying to work out harder in order to cramp out, okay, we need to get these kids, we need to train them up, and the villains, and just curtail this bullshit with the villains and everything, right? Because this is getting crazy, and of course Shigaraki himself is getting a little bit more influence, getting a bit more of a following, and is actively growing and advancing to becoming a legitimate threat. And this all happens, and then like people are legitimately restless because All Might isn't around. He is a symbol. He is the pillar. You know, and that pillar can't do anything anymore. You know, it's like, hey, what would happen, right? If fucking that did happen in the comics at some point. But like when Superman died, everyone was wigging the fuck out. right? But and then, like, imagine, like, right, in the DC universe, if Superman just straight up die. I mean, granted, it's a lot different in the DC universe because there are a bunch of other powerhouses. Granted, may not a lot of them as powerful as Superman, but they could probably do the work. But what he represents, if he had died or retired and there's nobody around who could really take his place, people are going to wig out and it's going to be a big deal. I think people are way too hung up on, the physical aspect of, like, hey, the mentor has to die, and not really looking at for how it was accomplished even without that being the case.
Well, I've had a little peek into the manga, and, like, apparently he is going to, like, die, like, physically die.
Yeah,
so...
he's still injured and shit. He's still going to die. He just can't do hero work anymore, which is almost as bad.
Yeah, like, I think, because, like, a character doesn't have to die to make it have impact. Like, he could, like, be in a coma or be in a coma or be terribly sick. Like, but,
exactly.
Like, if you take All Might as, like, a symbol for the hero society, I mean, that symbol's now dead. It's dead. The dream is fucked, alright?
Yeah. It's being replaced by Endeavor, so, that's fun. Like, imagine just, like, being told that... just fucking run! Yeah, those are the Addendum.
Listen, the second that Endeavor became the pro hero, I'm just imagining Deku going like, nah, man, I'm gonna make my own hero society with blackjack and hookers.
No, that's
Bakugo.
That.
That'd be great.
That's Bakugo, dude. It's a Bakugo move.
Oh shit. When Bakugo becomes, like, of age and becomes a pro hero, I bet you that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna make his own hero association with blackjack and hookers.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh, man. And speaking of Bakugo, that moves us to the fourth addendum.
Ooh.
Which I guess you can count this as like a negative towards the show a little bit. Now, this is in regards to season 2. And in regards to, the Bakugo versus Uraraka fight. I complained a lot about the fight, and mostly it's the same. One thing that I neglected to talk about was the way that it was kind of a hypocrite, and I granted, this is partially the point, I guess. The fact that, the crowd was just so much against Bakugo for whatever reason, it's just kind of weird. It's like, why the hell are all of you guys just, like, demonizing this dude? Like, this dude is actively trying to win. He's not doing any dirty tactics. He's actually, taking this chick seriously.
Like, honestly, for the entire fight, like, he takes her completely seriously. Like, he acts accordingly. Like, he isn't toying with her. He isn't holding back. Like, I don't even think Bakugo would hold back, actually. Like, I don't think he's that type of person. Like...
Oh, he's not.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, if you're coming at Bakugo, you're either an equal or someone he's gonna crush. And if you're an equal...
and actually... Go ahead.
Well, the thing is with Bakugo is that he, like, later in the show, like, he starts to view Deku as an equal, alright? But with everyone else, like, you're either an equal to him or he crushes you. And if he doesn't crush you, that means you're his equal. And that means he begrudgingly respects you.
Yeah, and even then, this actually sparks a sort of weird change in his development, because Bakugo's development is one of the things that I enjoyed a lot about, looking through
as well. I think it's one of the better aspects of the show. Like, it turns a psychopathic, chainsawing anti-hero into somewhat a heroic asshole.
And freaking, one of the subtler things that I neglected to figure out that my friend did.
You mean our friend?
Hey, our friend did. Is that, no, this is a pretty subtle change in his character, the way he's treating Ochako, when you really think about it. Because in the start of the first season, honestly, if it was, Season 1, Episode 1, Bakugo fighting Uraraka, right? He would fucking toy with her, right?
Yes, he would.
He would just fucking toy with her and be insanely cocky and just leave so many chances. This Bakugo is actively taking shit seriously, right? Because, that's what the fight back in Season 1 between himself and Deku, even to a lesser extent the villain invasion in Season 1 have taught him, is that, hey, this is a big pawn, I gotta step up, there's no more fucking around. Instead of, actually making myself look great, I'm actually gonna be great for a change. I like that.
Yeah, because I think, like, Bakugo realizes that if he wants to be the best of the best, like, there's other people that are just as strong and just as mean as him, and he has to be the meanest and the biggest and the strongest. Like,
Yes.
and you do, I actually didn't notice it, but it's now clicking, because because I think I've just noticed this, is that he takes less chances now. Like, before,
Exactly.
he would leave himself wide open to attack, and anyone that's stronger than him, or, like, up, like, in his power level, they would take that advantage. Like, even people that are weaker than him, they would take that advantage.
Well, yeah,
because...
if season 1 Bakugo was fighting Tokoyami would have won. Right. It's stuff like that that actually just shows how really good Bakugo as a character
like
is.
if you remember the season 3 fight between him and Deku.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Dude, they were going back to fucking back. Like, he was leaving nothing to chance.
Yes.
Like, season 1, like, I guarantee you this, like, season 3 Deku would wipe the fucking floor with season 1 Bakugo. No contest.
Yes.
Because, like,
no
Bakugo, he would leave too many openings, and Deku, with his current level of experience, he would be able to see that shit, and just go like, boom!
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I think this is a very interesting thing to note about his character. And, if we didn't mention it in the...
Subtlety!
if we didn't talk about this in the original review, which I'm 99% sure we didn't.
I think we talked about his character development like a little bit, but I don't think we went into too much depth about the subtlety of how he's taking less chances, because, like, it just clicked to me, because I'm, like, thinking back of all the fights that he's having, and I'm just realizing, you know, he didn't really leave much up to chance. It's fun, like, and like from little I know about martial arts and actual, like, combat, he actually doesn't leave a lot of chances. Like, obviously we're trying to apply, like, realistic situations to a fantasy show of superpowers, but, like, if you think about it realistically, like, he doesn't leave much openings. Like, especially compared to season 1.
Absolutely, and that's, you know, the point he's been basically making. And, you know, just Bakugo is great in general. It's great, and not much else to say about that. Next thing. Okay, now, you're probably going to just try to, like, prepare the firing squad this one, okay?
Oh boy. Okay, shoot.
Right. Neta is actually funnier than I remembered him to be. Just throwing that out there, because, like, here's the thing. Sexual jokes, for the most part, aren't funny. Almost all the other jokes involving him are actually well done. It's the thing. It's really funny. Like, I don't have specific examples because I forgot to write them down. But a lot of the time, you know, me and my friend were watching it. And it might have been partially because of, you know, the fact I was watching it with somebody else. But I noticed that, especially with, like, jokes in general with the show, sight gags are its strong suit, you know, just visual humor, stuff that it's actually good at. It's something that we neglected to kind of mention with Mineta in general. He's a lot funnier than we thought he was.
Yeah, well, whenever I see a meta, this is the first thing that goes to my head. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that pops up when I see him on screen. Like, he's just really annoying, and I think I said this in the overview. Like, for a perv character, he's not even that funny or charming. Like Issei, or he's not like an Issei or a Master Roshi, because at least they have some sort of charm to him. But like Mineta, he comes off to me as more creepy than anything else.
Yeah, but that's mostly in regard, from what I understand from rewatching the show, that's mostly in regards to the sexual jokes that are involved with him. All the other jokes involving him that aren't necessarily sexual in nature are actually pretty goddamn good. Not you know, they're not really George Carlin levels or anything like that, but they're still functional. They're actual jokes, right? So, in fact, throughout the show, the most annoying background character in Class A, in our minds, wasn't really Mineta. It was the freaking naval laser kid.
Oh,
Aoyama.
yes, I forget him as well. I don't know what the fuck his point of his character is.
Yeah, he's just not funny. He is never funny. You know, because, like, hey, Mineta, there's always a blue moon with him. So, yeah, I think there are only, like, 3 good jokes in the entire show.
Like, isn't Naval Laser the guy who's just like, oh, you've got a crush on Deku, along with fucking everyone else in the fucking class?
Yeah.
They want that 100% smash.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's just something to mention there. Yeah, but, yo, Mineta is okay. He is okay. And I think that's better than nothing.
Well, considering the standards, the low standards that we have going into the show, okay is the best thing we can hope for.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving down to the next item on this list. Okay. I know I mentioned this before in regards to, Shigaraki's advisors not being actual advisors and just letting him do stupid shit. But I think, I already described how the villains probably should have won. I'm just gonna say here just in case. Yeah, what they should have done, because from the looks of things and how Kurogiri's teleportation works, right, is that, hey, he can teleport anywhere. He has a good idea of if he has like an idea of the direction he is going to in the area that he's going to generally. He doesn't even need to be there or even know what it looks like. He just needs to have an idea of what he's going.
Yeah, don't they have like the fucking internet? Like, I'm pretty sure they can get like a Google map or like satellite images to
exactly. That's exactly what our guy just said to me while we were watching this, and I mentioned this aspect. It's like, like Kurogiri is low-key kind of broken. It's just that they're not using him right. I know that we're viewers and we got the benefits of hindsight and all that crap, but still, like, literally, all they need to do, alright, Kurogiri, make a portal into, like, the building where the kids are in.
Actually, I have a question. How did he get a portal into the fucking My Hero Academia building in Season 1?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't need to be there. He just needs to know the general area of where he's going to. And he can just teleport there. It's fucking stupid.
Dude, now that I think about it, like, his quirk is actually really fucking broken and busted.
Exactly. Like, seriously, it's freaking stupid. These guys should have won.
Dude,
and it's not
dude, it's like, oh, where does Deku live? Oh, I'm just gonna drop a grenade or a bomb in his house while he's sleeping. Problem solved.
Yeah. Season 3, it's even more insulting because they actually have a few capable people. Because their plan was so utter dog shit, ended up losing like three potentially incredibly useful members, like Muscular, the smoke guy, and the fish guy with the mouth shit coming out of his mouth. Like, what they could have done, right? Hey, Kurogiri, make a portal inside that building where the kids are sleeping, right? Okay, Gas Guy, you're up. That's the entire building. Get everyone to sleep. Okay, Toga, get the blood of at least like 10 of the students. They're all knocked out. Go mad. All right. Then Mr. Compress, take Bakugo. If there's other people you want to take, go ahead. In fact, let's take Eraserhead so that we can just stop his bullshit, right? And then, okay, we're done. Teleport out. Skiller, dive bomb the place and just destroy it. Just kill all the kids. Fuck. Could have won. Don't whip it out.
It's actually funny. Like, if we were villains in this fucking show, like, we'd just fucking kill everything.
Here's the thing. The worst part about it is that I didn't Dobby think of this. Honestly. Like, I'm not a smart guy.
Like, instead of Muscular, like, dive bombing the place, I think Darby would have just set their entire forest on fire. Like, that's what he would have done.
Yeah.
Like, put him to sleep and then just, like, burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno, burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno, yeah. Oh, shit, you know, they have Twice and shit. Like, you know what'd been really cool?
Yes.
Is if Twice got fucking napalm or, like, explosives, like, set them up around the thing, and then have, like, Darby start a small flame and just, like, blow that bitch up.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, Twice is potentially really friggin' broken as well. Because, like, as long as he knows the exact measurements of the thing that he is copying, basically copy one of any, including, their quirk.
Wait, can't the smoke dye, like, work with chemicals and shit?
I think so, yeah.
Oh shit! They could have made fucking like chemical bombs or shit, like acid grenades and shit, like poison grenades.
Yeah. In fact, the fact that they left the smoke guy alone during that whole deal is stupid too. Because the dude, granted, he has a gun. The kid had a gun. But the fact that he's a frail guy. So you should have him teamed up with a member of the crew. Just set him up with Spinner or Muscular, and they would have gone to town. Seriously. Just put a gas mask on the both of them, and they would have been able to do it. Freaking stupid.
Yeah. So, Shigaraki mismanaging his resources.
Yeah, and also everybody else not having enough of a brain to actually question his plans, apparently.
I think the whole Derby thing, maybe the author didn't think of that. It's possible. Yep. It's possible that because when you think of realistic, let's just take this in the framework of realistically. You have all these fucking shit, and you're thinking of wait a minute, I've got a guy that's got chemicals. He could put them to sleep, and I've got a guy who can duplicate shit. Ooh, we can make grenades. It gets the mind ticking. And I get it. I get how Shigaraki wouldn't have to think about it because another aspect of leadership is how to use the people under you. You can also tell another telltale sign of a good leader is how they utilize the people under them as well.
Yeah.
And I get it with Shigaraki. There's a character journey and him figuring out how to be that leader. But as far as I'm concerned, it came too late it's too late at this point. He's wasted all these opportunities.
It literally involves everyone else around him just having the IQ of room friggin' temperature, despite that being against their characters. Yeah,
I mean, there's different types of intelligences. And a lot of these people, I think some of them are a bit more book smart than others. But I think a lot of these guys, they're very witty and cunning. They have that kind of intelligence where they'll be oh, wait a minute, if this does this and this equals this, they're more of a wit type of intelligence, I would say, or more street savvy. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is weird because you would think that people with those types of intelligences or those types of thought processes would have actually found ways to kill these guys because the thing with these types of intelligence is that they think fast on their feet and they're very cunning and devious, and you would think that they'd be able to easily outsmart a bunch of high schoolers.
Yeah. It's really friggin' dumb. Yeah, I think we harped on this topic enough.
All right, so addendum.
Next addendum. I don't remember if we said all that much about this, but we did mention, Todoroki and Bakugo being able to take makeup tests for the license exam and shit. And I don't know whether we were mad about this or not, but it makes complete sense.
I think we talked about it because we felt it was a waste of time. Why put in all this effort for this tournament when you can just take a freaking makeup test to get the license anyway?
But here's the thing. Number one, makeup test is only for the people who actually make it as far as the third round of the test, the second part of the test, which is the whole rescue thing and everything like that. And the second is that, hey, we just lost All Might. We cannot afford to have too many of our kids, especially ones with immense potential, like Bakugo and Todoroki, fall behind too much. And they still need to earn their way back in. Here's the thing. Later on, during season 4, they're barely in it. Because they're so busy trying to get into, trying to get their licenses and everything. They can't even be involved with the plot for a good portion of it. And this is a pretty good consequence in of itself, because if Bakugo and Todoroki are in the overhaul arc, which is in season 4, things would have gone way differently, which is a pretty huge consequence there. I think there's
at least that fixes one issue I had of the show with not having any consequences that actually mattered. So
yeah. So I think the whole fact that hey, they are able to make up, it's not an immediate thing, right? So yeah, I think there's just enough there. It's just really good. Also, just Mei Hatsume, the pink-haired chick who's the gearhead in the freaking sport course. She's just cool in general. Just wanted to mention that. That cannot be said enough, especially on a rewatch. She's just great.
Well, yeah, she's one of the least annoying characters in the entire show. So, any more other addendums, or should we just wrap this up?
There are 2 more, and these are really, really, really major ones. Okay, so one thing we didn't really mention that we didn't see in the first in our first round of season 2 that me and a friend did when we were watching it is you see in the beginning of season 2, right? During when Deku and All Might were talking to each other and shit, right? Mention how, hey, when Deku was trying to swing at friggin' Shigaraki during season 1, that hey, my arm didn't break, even though I was like fully trying to kill him. And All Might had to go and say like, hey, and like subliminally the show was saying all like, hey, maybe your body like you subconsciously held back your power from being able to kill him or something like that. And I'm just like, fucking what? Because like, remember that when like Deku, like Shigaraki was about to kill Froppy, right?
Yeah, I remember
like
that.
He was going at him and he was about to swim and Nomu blocked him, right?
Yep.
I thought the reason why his arm didn't shatter, it would have, because, okay, it's because of the shock absorption from the Nomu. It's his ability, right?
Yep.
No! He literally took away any sort of accountability or any flaw that Deku might have in order to just spin it into saying, like, oh no, he's such a good boy! He's such a good boy! He wouldn't have done that! So friggin' stupid. And this moves on.
I have a question to ask. Like, if that punch would have went through, like, would Shigaraki still be standing after taking all that fucking force to the head?
I don't know, because that's just how bullshit this friggin' thing is. But, like, here's the thing. This moves on into the biggest, and I mean the biggest problem with Deku as a character. I don't think it was said enough in the reviews, but I'm saying it right now. Here's the thing. Deku was set up to be everyman. Is set up to have certain flaws and qualities that are in line with a lot of, contemporary guys in our modern society, right? Problem is that the show barely ever either acknowledges his actual character flaws or even less have those flaws literally prevent him from accomplishing things. That don't necessarily have to do with him not being strong enough. It's the Shiro Emiya paradox. Whatever things that he doesn't succeed at, it's not because he's flawed or that he didn't make the right decision. It's because of stuff that he is literally physically isn't able to do. That's fucking stupid. Because this whole thing is about him learning how to become a better hero and a better person. There's personal growth involved in this.
This is how I would have fixed the Shigaraki scene. Like, the punch doesn't go fully through, but it's just enough to wing Shigaraki, and it hurts Shigaraki really badly. Not enough to kill him, but not enough to if that punch went through, he would have died.
Oh, here's the thing. I wouldn't have changed that. I wouldn't have had All Might say that in season 2 at all. I would actually give Deku some accountability, because this would have been a good chance to, because one of Deku's actual flaws, as presented by the narrative, is that he is, he's overzealous at times. He is very emotional. He gets caught up in his own bullshit at times. And it's the same problem with him winning against freaking Shinso. Yeah, I'm bringing that back. Right, back
you mean the part where he communicated with spirits?
Yes, because it's the same problem. Because it's Deku actually having a flaw, right? Because he is very emotional, and he let the emotions get the better of him. By removing him actually, acknowledging that, oh shit, I could have killed this guy. Having it just stay there, it removes any accountability his character might have. And because of what they did with Shinso, Deku would have been fine whether or not he, didn't friggin' win that match in the tournament. No, it's like the thing. Freaking that removes accountability, because hey, you fucked up. You knew about Shinso's quirk and how it worked, and you still fucked it up. You need to suffer some consequences, or else you're not gonna grow of anything. Honestly, that's just pussies out of that's just the narrative pussying out of its own setup. It's
actually funny you say that, because I'm going to bring up Tokyo Ghoul again. During the ending part of the show, the main character, he has flaws, and those flaws, they come to bite him in the fucking ass.
Okay, that's good. It's like with freaking Guts from Berserk. He has a bunch of flaws that just bite him in the ass all the time. Hell, even right now in the manga, when Casca gets brought back and everything, guess what? She still remembers not only remembers what happened in the eclipse, but hey, she remembers what Guts almost did to her while they were traveling together, and she's so traumatized to the point where she can't can't even look at him anymore. Can't even look at him, or else she gets like mystical PTSD right on the spot.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
consequences there.
Yeah, I honestly think Guts can't honestly
And
can't.
it's
Guts
just like
can't
the
catch
whole
a
show
break.
is about, hey, becoming your best self, going through personal growth. It's also about the whole hero society, a critique of it being presented, how how people interpret these sorts of things. How can you do that? If the main freaking character isn't allowed to make legitimate mistakes, because his other flaws, like his squeamish nature, or the fact that he overthinks things at times, or anything like that, those aren't actual flaws as far as the narrative is concerned. It never lands him in any trouble whatsoever, and it's friggin' stupid. It's just, oh my god.
I almost feel that they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to have a character that's going to grow, but never learn from any of the flaws that he actually has, and it's
because here's the thing. Deku has similar he's basically Peter Parker, right? Peter Parker has actual presented flaws that bite him in the ass a bunch of times, and none of it has to do with being, oh, he's too good, or oh, he's like because of stuff that he physically isn't able to do. No, he has actual flaws. He can be emotional. Yeah, certain aspects of him that, like, hey, pushes people away, stuff like that. Go ahead.
And another thing with Peter Parker or Spider-Man's character, I mean, it depends on interpretation, but he in the original Spider-Man's where he's a young kid, or he's a young teenager, young adult, he's very passion driven. He's a bit cocky. He smart talks people. Or when Uncle Ben gets involved, he gets very emotional, which is understandable. He's got a lot of passion, and the thing with Spider-Man is that he has a lot of fucking demons, like Venom is another one of those things, the black symbiote, other aspects of his character that come back to fucking haunt him, and it's you Spider-Man.
It's because of stuff that he's personally responsible for. That's the thing.
Yeah, the black symbiote and Venom. In most of the interpretations, he is responsible for Venom and the monster that Eddie Brock became, right? That is that he did that. It's not the black symbiote, he did it. Spider-Man did it.
Also, and not to mention when Spider-Man was having the symbiote and it was, fucking up his relationships, it wasn't like the symbiote, instilling these negative aspects into Peter. No, it's bringing out the stuff that was already in him.
Yeah, the symbiote, the symbiote just I'm pretty in the Sony movie. I'm going to use that as an example. In the Sony movie number 3, the scientist literally says to him, this symbiote, it brings out your negative aspects more. Are you sure you're not keeping the stuff on you? It could be dangerous.
Yeah, it's stuff that he's personally responsible for. But that sort of thing is literally missing entirely from Deku as a character. Top of not being actively, participating in the debates and the stuff that the villains talk about, with Stain, doesn't get presented with any actual flaws either in his worldview or that he actually is presented personally.
Another example of this is when he was talking to the kid, who lost his, he didn't have anything to say. That would have been a great moment. And it was to a certain extent, but it just fizzled into nothing. He didn't learn anything from that kid's experiences or that kid's trauma. If anything, he turned that kid into another fucking useless idiot who doesn't question the system, who doesn't, think about these things or, try and rationalize or understand what happened to his parents. His parents died. It was a tragic thing, but was it really all that bad?
He rarely ever speaks on the actual significance of these events, even though as a guy who's trying to be the number one hero, that's literally, don't you think, as a wide-eyed, idealistic kid who's trying to be the best in the world, don't you think, these are the things you want to present to your character to not make him a freaking bland toast or something?
Honestly, with that argument with that kid, he could have said to them, no, they didn't die for nothing. They died for something. And you can take pride in that they died. They died for the good of society. They died for heroic injustice. They were honorable to the very end. Those are things that Deku could have brought up. He could have said to that kid, no, your parents didn't abandon you. They loved you.
Granted, I think he could have said that, but maybe during that whole scenario, it's like that probably would have set him off even, because I'm pretty sure those are the very things that Coda went really against hearing, because his whole argument is that, hey, society is built on these things that like put people at risk. Even if they die for a cause, why is it worth dying at all?
Well, I know we're waxing philosophical here, but it's the question of like, what is worth living if you have nothing to fight for?
Yeah, and I think that's the overall point that they were trying to present.
I mean,
there.
like with Shiro, like Shiro Emiya from the visual novels, and they bring this up, like less so in the anime, but in the visual novels, like a lot of the characters say to him, like, why aren't you not fighting for yourself? Because like, yeah, you're fighting and trying to fight for people, but what about you? You because like the thing with Shiro is he isn't just do it like when we say fighting for himself, we're not meaning like him being like this selfish asshole, like he only fights for himself. No, but like getting personal enjoyment or satisfaction doing what he's doing, because he's fighting for others, but what is the reason for why he's fighting for others? Is it to save people? Is it to promote? Is it to promote justice? Is it freedom? Is it ideals? Like that, like it's like 2 + 2 = 4, but the two, one of the twos is missing. And that's the thing with Shiro's character, is that like he's missing, like he's doing these things, but what's the reason? And it's not selfish for having a reason of, hey, I'm gonna liberate this town because I fight for freedom, or I fight for justice, and these people are being horribly abused and oppressed. There's nothing wrong about that. That isn't there has to be a reason for why you are fighting.
There is no personal agency in regards to what he's doing, and that actually gets addressed, at least in the visual novels, from what I've heard. No less so in the anime, because
it does.
Again, the problem is that it only gets presented. The only people who actually present these issues are a bunch of murderers, and it just means a lot less because of that.
Yes.
It's the same issue with Deku as well. It's like, hey, there are these people who are actively, presenting arguments against the hero system and the ideals that he holds dear, but he doesn't feel that he needs to debate with them because all that it's coming from are a bunch of murderers, psychos, and terrorists.
Yeah, it's like Chucky from Child's Play debating philosophy with me about the value of human life. Like,
exactly.
Motherfucker, you don't care about human life, you care about extinguishing it. Like, fuck you. Like,
yeah, it's like, it just puts, in other shonen, you don't have this problem. I know, it's a big problem that I feel that a lot of people have whenever they criticize the show. They just project aspects of like contemporary shonen aspects onto My Hero without actually looking at looking at it as it's supposed to be interpreted. But this is one of those things just really would have benefited the narrative a lot more. Because in other shonen, characters hate the villains, and especially villains that they are diametrically opposed on like a philosophical level. Right? When these villains are presented, there's actual interaction between them.
Like, if you want to talk about shonen villains, like look at some of the villains from Naruto. And I know some people talk about like the talk no jutsu, but like with Naruto, like he has a dialogue with these people and tries to understand how they think and shit. Like if say like Itachi Uchiha was some chainsawing wielding psychopath, would he actually be as interesting as he is in the actual series?
I wouldn't say so, no. And that's the point. And like, here's the thing: Naruto is willing to have at least conversate with the people he's beating the shit out of, and like he's even more bullheaded than Deku is. Deku's whole deal is that he thinks too much. So, oh man, this is just an example of just another aspect. Okay, and this is just another example of an aspect of Deku's character that just really does a disservice to the narrative and I hope that I've done a very good job at articulating it as well as I can. Because again, a lot of people have there's a lot of discourse surrounding Deku as a whole as a character, and so a lot of people give him way more shit than he deserves. But I hope with this exact point I have perfectly articulated aspect of his character that is actually, on the negative side. It doesn't come off as me just hating on him just because he isn't like an Ichigo or like a Luffy or whatever.
No, all those characters have their own flaws as well, like some more pronounced than others. Yes. But he doesn't have to be Luffy. He doesn't have to be Ichigo. He has to be Deku.
Oh, yeah. Then that's what we're talking about. The Deku that we see in the narrative isn't the Deku that the narrative wants bring out, That Horikoshi has this idea of who Deku is as in his head. He has a shit ton of trouble presenting him in an interesting way in pen and paper. That's the thing.
There's nothing wrong with Deku's character. Like on the surface or like on paper, it's a good. Like I think it's an interesting. It could be a very interesting character. But it's about the execution. We talk about this all the time. Like Char Aznable from Gundam. All right. Like, the guy's, like, one of the most popular character archetypes in the fucking entire show. So much so that they clone him repeated times. Some actual literal clones of him. And
yes.
I want to tell, I want to say this. If they half-assed it with Char and never gave him any depth or subtlety or any characterization, would he actually be that interesting? Like, no.
Oh, it would be Char's counterattack, but worse.
Yeah, it would, Char would just be known as the colony drop ho guy. He wouldn't be known for he would be known for the interesting aspects of his character, his political drives, what he actually strives for. And obviously, my thoughts on Char Aznable, because my Discord avatar and my Twitter profile is a picture of Char Aznable, because he's the fucking goat.
But even then, because, Char's a little bit different fundamentally as a character. But even if we talk about, hey, let's talk about Amuro a little bit. He's got some actual flaws that get presented in the narrative. Fucking cocky, gets bitch slapped all the time, barely anyone likes him, he pisses everybody off. He actually grows and acknowledges these mistakes. And when he, actual stuff about the war is being presented to him, he reacts to it. He conversates with it. Might not do it the exact right way because he's a kid, he has a trouble understanding with it, but at least he tries. And he has even less reason to do so than Deku does.
Dude, after Gundam and you go into Zeta and Double Zeta, he's had enough. After Zeta, he's like, nah, peace.
Just over this shit.
Yeah, peace. He's like, nah, I'm not doing this shit again. I've had enough. Listen, I fought against the Titans. That's it. No more. And Char's counterattack, he's like, okay, one last time. Me and Char, we're gonna duke it out because we're all buddies, and fuck it. Because, if you look at Amuro Ray, after Gundam, he always seems so fucking depressed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even after, what are you talking about? During Gundam, he's fucking pissed.
Honestly, I almost feel like him fighting Char Aznable at the end of Counterattack is just the one last hurrah. This is I'm gonna die, but fuck it, I have nothing else to live for. Then my dueling buddy Char. If he's gonna go out and colony drop ho, then I'm gonna go out just trying to stop him.
Because he feels, I'm the only one. Because here's the... One of the things I love about that fight, right? Was that whole in the middle of the middle of the fight when they were out of their suits and they had that conversation while they were trying to shoot missiles at each other and shit. That was great. That was fucking great. It's not only a callback to the fight back in the first Gundam. Actually, it's these two fucking interacting in a meaningful fashion.
Yeah, well, they don't hate each other. If honestly, I think it's the exact opposite. I think they both respect and care about each other, but because of colony drop ho. Well, I'm anti colony drop ho. So no, I'm gonna stop you, Char, and make this. This is the final time we do this shit. All right?
Yeah. But we got a lot off topic. Point is that Deku. This is just another aspect of Deku that just doesn't would have been beneficial to the narrative overall if it had been fixed, and if he actually fixes this problem later on in the show or in the series in general, I'll be happy. It's way too little, way too late, because it's way past the point where anyone reasonable should give a shit. Go ahead.
I mean, depending how long Boku no Hero longs, or who knows? In a couple of chapters, it could be a complete 180 in quality. Who knows? I mean, unlikely, but it could happen. But yeah, too little, too late.
One last addendum.
The last addendum, folks. Home stretch.
So, one thing I want to talk about. I don't think. I think this is a very. This is also a contentious topic among the people who criticize the show. It's about the entrance exam back in season 1.
Oh yes, that one.
Yes, and specifically in regards to the hero points and stuff. And I think here's the thing. Upon further recollection, it makes a lot more sense when you really think about it, because the whole point of the hero points, right? You know that old saying goes that like, hey, good people do good things even when nobody is looking.
Yes.
But that's the whole point. Yeah, and that's the whole point of hero points is that like, hey, it's to grade the students and applicants on their aptitude of saving people. They aren't literally like incentivized to do so. Good heroes are good people who are willing to do that stuff without getting points. And I think people were kind of offset because like, hey, this comes off as like a bullshit moment way of like Deku being able to get into UA and everything. But they fail to realize that in that same scene, there are other students that have hero points aside from Deku. In fact, it's a really interesting dichotomy with like Bakugo completely having 0 hero points, still having the highest grade out of everybody else in the test. So it shows that there's a lot of interesting leeway in the way that it functions. But I think it makes a lot more sense than people give it credit for.
The question I have is what about people like Shinso who don't have hero points or can't smash robots? What about them?
I know, it's stupid. That part of the test is still stupid. But hero points is where the point system in general is the thing that people have an issue with. And I feel like a lot of it stems from certain people kind of conflating ideology of heroism, the job description of heroes within My Hero Academia. And these two things get conflated with each other a lot. And it's for this reason that people have these very, very weird assumptions and perceptions about it that don't really make any sense. Like, there's this one guy, right? Like, freaking Anime Snobs, one of Anime Snobs' videos, because, he reviews the show a lot. And he's another guy that gives this show a lot more shit than it deserves, in my opinion. I see a lot of the comments, right? And one of the comments was like, hey, heroes aren't heroes when they get money. Stuff like that. It's like, dude, you're literally conflating it. All right, number one, Iron Man, right? Tony Stark.
I mean, if you look at like the Greek heroes or some of those like famous Greek heroes of old, like they got money, they got pussy, and they got fame.
Exactly. It's again.
Like, look at Alexander the fucking Great. The guy was rich as fuck when he died.
Absolutely. He lived and died as a goddamn king, and that doesn't really prevent any of the good that he actually did.
Yeah,
and like,
and honestly, like Alexander the Great, like he was no less he was no less ruthless than your average Greek warlord. But there was certain aspects about Alexander the Great that you can call generally heroic. He was brave in battle, unflinching. I mean, if you look at a couple of documentaries about Alexander the Great, I mean, the guy was a fucking madman. All right, like he was trying to emulate Achilles. All right, like the Greek, like he was trying, like Alexander the Great, he was trying to make his entire life a heroic Greek fiction, and
Absolutely.
he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
The madman did it.
It's like that aside, the entrance exam and the hero points actually makes narrative sense because again, it was the interesting dichotomy within the Hero Society and how things are functioning within the school. And it's not just a lazy cop-out way for Deku to be able to get into UA in the hero course. So, that's the last addendum, and that's the last thing that we neglected to talk about during the review. So, I hope you guys at home learned some things. You had a good time, had a good talk. I certainly did. I enjoyed rewatching the show. I haven't lost a few brain cells along the way, but I gained a couple as well. So
You gotta chug that high IQ juice.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm just glad that freaking Rick and Morty got a couple new episodes lately. So
yeah,
I think that evens it out.
I've got to get around to watching that. So this is by Gundam. Thank you for watching, and see you later.
Later.